Bouncy, back in Cardiff for year number 10. How does it feel to be back?
It's pretty cool. It feels a bit surreal when you think 10 years. I think growing up, you always want to play for a big franchise in this country. And obviously, you know, your big ones are, you grow up watching them. And to hear that you've been at Cardiff now for 10 years, it's pretty special.
With the 10th year comes a testimonial. How does it feel to be honoured by the club that you've given near enough your entire professional career to?
Yeah, again, it's, like I say, surreal. It gives me goosebumps when obviously you speak about it like that. But it's there's a lot of great players that have been through this club and not got testimonials, and there's been some amazingly great players that have got testimonials like Richie, Marty, Batchy, Ben Davis, you know, and people before them even. So to be among that crowd is pretty special.
We come to a decade now for you in Cardiff, and like you say, you've played with some special players. You've seen a fair few testimonials over the years, and it feels like at the moment there's this kind of one every off season. Do you look back at that 10 years? Is there any particular highlights? Obviously, there's been trophies won, but like personally for you, what are kind of those highlights over the last 10 years?
I think for me, when I look back, it's maybe more like how I evolved as a person, as a goalie, and I think I look back at that very first championship that we won, the Challenge Cup, that first year, and that was maybe one of the worst things we did because it put so much pressure on us after that. But you went from being just no one really caring, just play your best, to, oh my God, we got a championship team now, you got to win every year. But that's the kind of environment you want to be in, and that's the most fun environment. No one wants to be down in mid-table or down at that bottom end. You want to be up top and in the hunt for trophies, just like we usually are. But yeah, I think it's that first year I didn't really, not necessarily appreciate, but I didn't really take everything in on that first trophy. And then the second year, obviously, we didn't win anything. We came really close again, but didn't win a single trophy apart from the conference, which isn't really celebrated. So, I mean, that makes you then want those trophies even more and increases that hunger and increases that drive. And I think the more you do it, the more you get addicted to it. And then when you do miss out, it hurts even more. So I think kind of just appreciate it now as I got older, just not just winning, but playing game as well and being around the guys like him. Obviously, you know that you get older, your days start getting numbered, and you evolve from just playing and being kind of looking into the future. Do I get my next contract? How's this next game going to be? How have I played in this last game? To just being right in the moment.
You mentioned the way that your game's evolved. I think not only has your game done that, the role you have within the Devils organisation has as well. In terms of the last couple of seasons, you've not played 70 games a season, but despite the fact that your number of games has dropped, you're still posting kind of career numbers. Has that been kind of a help to your game? Maybe just bringing that load down a little bit and having another guy in net with you who can carry some of that load as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor is probably you and King. Before I had Brabs, and Brabs were absolutely awesome. But like you say, I mean, the first year we were in Pool A, I think that France game was a 91st start, and you can't carry a 93, a 94, a 92, or even a 91% save average over 91 games. You know what I mean? It's a lot of games. It's a lot of wear and tear. But no, I think King has put a bit more structure into my game, and that's really helped. And obviously having imports come in and try to take your spot gives you that extra drive and that extra push as well. And it's, as a Brit, and this being my home, it is my home now. It's my home club. It's, like I said, been here 10 years. It's part of me, and I don't want to be out of that spot. And it's been nice to obviously prove those points throughout the last few years. But I think my best games are always when I do play a good run in a row, and then you have a little break, just recuperate, because there's always going to be peaks and troughs, and you build, and then you usually get a little bit fatigued. Maybe you have one bad game, and sometimes it is good for you. As much as you don't like it, sometimes it's good to sit out one or two, and then you come back raring to go again, like, right, I'm going to prove a point, get my net back. So that's the way you kind of look at it, and you just have to take, like I say, you take every day as it comes.
You mentioned you and King. He'll be back working with you next year. What is it that works in your relationship? How does he get the best out of you from week to week?
Well, I think he knows me personally as well. We are really good friends off ice, but what I love about him is on the ice, it's not really my friend. If you know what I mean? It's strictly professional, and I think that's such a good asset to have as a coach. You need to be able to understand people from a personal point of view and be friends, but also switch that friendship off. When you're on the ice, it's business, and you still talk like friends. You know what I mean? But it's never going to be, right, you're favoured over this guy just because I'm friends with you. And he'll tell me when I've been bad. He'll tell me when I've been good. He'll pick up all the little details. I mean, the video we go through could have had a shutout and he'll still be not happy with me because there's some small details that are missing, you know what I mean? So he always keeps me on my toes, and he just knows my game. He knows what suits me. I mean, when I went to Slovakia, they tried changing me into more of a blocking goalie, just sitting my butterfly and block shots, which is not me. It's obviously growing up in Britain, you don't have a ton of goalie coaching, and the knowledge weren't at the level that it's at now with like you and people in similar positions. So for me, I've always been more of a reaction goalie and steering my rebounds into corners and stuff like that. Whereas in Slovakia, the goalie coach wanted me to just block. So I struggled for quite a while, and Kinga, when I started working with him, got me back out of that, got me back to reacting, being on top of my crease and just getting into my rhythm. And we still work on those details, and we still work on footwork, speed, everything that you need to. And I think it's been kind of cool because obviously he brings in these new techniques and these new little tools that you need in this modern game, and it pulls that into my game without disrupting everything that I've got already.
You guys, of course, have worked together at a Devils sort of situation, but also for GB, and your summer started, or maybe your season ended really well with GB again with another promotion, another fantastic tournament for you. It's just, once again, it's been a great experience for you playing for GB and being involved with the successes that they've had.
Yeah, it's again, that's GB's probably my most proudest achievements because it's your country. It's going to be right, and I mean we've had so many memorable things with the Devils. The playoff final for me sticks out with the Devils when we lost the league in the last game in Coventry, and then to obviously beat Belfast in that final. And for me, there's like a couple of personal highs there with a save on the 5-on-3, I think it were, and things like that. So that one really sticks out for me. Like I said, the first Challenge Cup, even the second Challenge Cup here in Cardiff. I mean, to win that on home ice, that was unbelievable. Yeah, and there's all these highs there, but for GB, just because it's your country, it's another level. And to be written off year after year after year, to be the first team to ever, I think we were the first team to ever go back-to-back gold promotion from 1B, 1A into Pool A, then to stay up, obviously, the manner that we did against France. And it's just been a roller coaster. And I think the group of guys there, I've grown up with a lot of them playing. I mean, we're just talking about it off camera. Ben O'Connor, I've known him since I was 6. You know, my first ever year playing, and you're playing for GB, winning gold medals, playing against Canada people, and Patrick Kane for US, people like that. With these guys, and Rich has been my stallmate for 10. Well, this will be his 10th year, and you just go through them year after year. And like I said, because you get written off so much with GB, because at the end of the day, we're not as talented. We're realistic, you know. We know where we are. We're not as talented as your Canada and the US and Finland, but the way that everyone buys in means that we always overachieve and we always prove people wrong. And I think when you're proving people wrong and having fun like we do at the same time, it just makes it that little bit more special.
You mentioned some of those guys, your Richies, your O'Connors, yourself. Despite the success GB have had, they're kind of in a period of transition here where there are a few guys moving on and kind of younger guys coming through. You're one of the older guys now, and do you embrace kind of being that veteran in the room, kind of that presence and that voice? Yeah,
and I think I do take a little bit of a quieter role at GB than what I do at the Devils. Devils, I like to be a bit loud and bring energy in the morning. With the Devils, we always had people like Davy Phillips there with GB, so I didn't have to bring that energy because he's one of the best people I've ever met, Davy, in my life, and the energy he brought and the fun was ridiculous. And not having him in Romania was definitely different. But it's just such a good group. But like you say, it is transitioning, and I mean there'll be times even in Romania. I mean, I don't think that I'm old, but I'm definitely older than a lot of the guys. And I can remember sitting at the table with most of the young guys there, and they're all talking about the TikToks and stuff like that. I have no idea. I don't know what to talk about, so I just sat eating my dinner. Whereas obviously I sit on a table with Richie or Ben O'Connor or Batchy, like saying, we'll just talk about life. Or when it's Batchy and Ben Davis, we'll talk about kids because we're all in the same kind of period of life, you know what I mean? So you've all got that, and that's when it makes you realize, well, maybe I am a bit older than what I think. But no, it's going to be interesting the next like 2, 3, 4, 5 years for GB, because there's going to be a lot of guys that are retiring, that are going to maybe focus on the club careers, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that transition and see how that gets handled, see if they can maintain the level that we've been at for so long.
We'll move on now to the Devils last season. It was one of those years, and I've spoken about it with a lot of guys, where there was obviously the success of the Continental Cup and maybe the frustration of not necessarily getting over the line in other competitions. First of all, the Continental Cup, that win means that now you've won everything that you can kind of at the Devils level. What kind of experience was that, and how proud are you to have added that one to already a long list of achievements?
It was pretty cool again. Like I said, it was the first year at the Devils where I've had kind of an injury mid-season, so it was just nice to be able to get back on the bench and be with the guys for that. I didn't want to be in the stands while we won that. I knew I wouldn't be playing because it was so close to me coming back, which obviously stings. But you're not going to put a goalie that's just come back after 5 weeks off with a knee injury. No, it weren't 5 weeks. So I think it was 3.5 or 2.5 weeks. Who's just been off with this knee injury. So I understand that, and I was just happy to get back in the lineup and obviously lift a trophy. It's the first one that I've lifted with my daughter as well. So that were pretty special. It's just nice having that when you win stuff like that and you got the family on the ice. I think that's my favourite bit of it all. So to do that, and like I say, I think the only thing we need to tick off now is the CHL Championship.
Yeah, I'm sure that can be done.
That one would be quite nice if we manage to get back there at some point.
Certainly a surprise, I think. Yeah. We look now at the lesser successes, maybe the stuff that was missed out on. Obviously, making 2 cup finals, finishing 4th in the league. It was one of those years that could have been. What have you got to do differently now as a team looking ahead to next season to kind of push over the line in those trophies and those opportunities?
I think we just need to be a bit more level. I think we were too up and down the last couple of years. I think like the league it's a roller coaster, right? There's no other league in the world like it where the highs are super high, the lows are super low. You know what I mean? Every game's a game 7, and it's a grind. There's no 2 ways about it. It's an absolute grind, and we got to learn to stay level. And then when we do get into those finals, into those situations where it means something big, going into Sheffield, going into Belfast, I think that we just got to be a little bit grittier. We've had a lot of skill, and I think the skill guys that we probably bring in are going to have a bit more grit, and I think the way that we're probably going to be set up is going to be grittier as well. And like I say, you can't just have meat like you used to, where there'd be a ton of grit and no skill, no speed. The guys have to be able to skate, they have to be able to play these days because it's not the same sport anymore. So I think if we have that bit more grit and a bit more, I can't really say the words that I'm looking for on camera because it's not appropriate, but we need a bit more of let's just say a stubborn attitude going into these rinks and these big games. And I think that we need to draw on those experiences from the last 2 seasons and realise how we got into those situations, but then why we lost. And I think to be fair, towards the end of last year, I know it's controversial, but we won that we won that final. I know that I'm going to be biased because I'm Cardiff and Nottingham are going to say the other way around, but there's a push on me on their goal and there's no push on the other goalie. You know what I mean? So it's out there. For me, we won it and we learned from those, so it stung to not win that last final. But it is what it is, and we still have to think, well, why did we concede those first 3 goals? Why did we concede the first couple of minutes off a play that we'd already spoke about pre-game? And with Hare going to the net like he does and making sure we pick guys up. So it's those little details we learn from. Like I say, we need to get grittier and we just need to have that little bit extra between our teeth. And I know the guys that we've got coming back, with the guys that we signed, they'll all be hungry and we've got a really good core of guys, and hopefully leaders will lead just like they always do.
You mentioned that kind of grittiness. Paul Thompson comes in as coach for this coming season, and that's kind of one thing that he's spoken about as well, is he wants the Devils to be hard to play against. Tough nights when you come into this building. He's a guy, of course, when you first got to Cardiff, was in Sheffield, and he's always been a big rival. So kind of, are you excited to work with him? Have you spoken to him much? You know, like I say, he's a guy that you kind of always faced, and now he's on your side. Yeah,
no, I'm excited. I mean, Tomo was the first coach to bring me into the GB program back when I was 20, so I have so much time for Tomo, and when I were in Europe, he gave me a lot of advice. I speak to him quite a bit in Europe, and since I come back to Cardiff, just kind of didn't want to bother him too much when I went to Odense because that were a big project. And I mean, there was a period where in Trencham where I did actually want to try and go to Odense to play for him, but the circumstances didn't allow. So yeah, it's going to be really nice to finally work with him. And like I say, he's been through it. He's been through it with Coventry. He's won everything with them. He won everything with Sheffield, pretty much. I think maybe apart from the Challenge Cup, I can't remember if he won that or not. But he won the league and playoffs. I know that. And everywhere he's gone, he's won. He's took Odense from the bottom team in the Danish league to playoff champions in about 4 years. Is it 3 or 4 years? And his pedigree, he knows this league inside out, and he knows exactly what he wants. You know exactly what it takes, and I know that he's not going to let standards drop, and that's exactly what we need.
What does a successful season next year look like for you personally? What are you looking for from your game next year?
It's the same. Again, I just want to keep improving on what I've built on for the last few years with Kinga. And success for me is more now, like I said, there's that personal side of things, but for me, more, I just want to get trophies. Do you know what I mean? I'd take a 90% save average and a trophy than a 94 and no trophies. You know what I mean? As much as it's nice to say, right, I got the best stats, I just want to be able to win games. And that's something I've always prided myself on when your back's against the wall. I've liked to think that I can pull out these big results, and when it really matters, pull them out, just like having the past finals, like with GB with the gold medal, even performances when we lost, like the playoff final. I thought I played really solid in that, you know, and that's something I've always taken pride in. And the Elite League, like I said, is a roller coaster, and you got to bring your A game. So it's going to be a case of just bringing it even more than what I have the last few years, and like I say, win the trophy, and then I'll be happy.
Bownsy, it's great to have you back. Thank you for your time. Good luck at the end of the year.
Thank you.